Commander Jake Peterson stood at the observation window of New Geneva Station, watching Earth slowly turn below him. The blue planet looked peaceful from this distance, but Jake knew that was about to change. For 3 days now, his communication. Teams had been picking up strange signals from deep space. Dr. Lisa Morgan rushed into the command center, her face pale with worry. She carried a data pad that glowed with alien symbols. Jake had never seen anything like them before. "Commander, you need to see this," Lisa said, her voice shaking slightly. "We just received a transmission. It's not from any known human source." Jake took the data pad and studied the strange markings. The symbols seemed to move and shift as he looked at them. "What language is this?" "We think it's from something called the Void Watchers," Lisa explained. "Our computers managed to translate part of it. Commander, this message is a warning. Someone is trying to tell us that we're in danger. Deep in space, far beyond where human ships had ever traveled, an ancient being named Zaxthil floated in. His damaged vessel. His ship was old beyond human understanding, built by a civilization that had ruled the galaxy long before humans learned to make fire. Zaxthil was the last of his kind, the final Void Watcher. He had been watching humanity for many years. At first, he thought they were just another young species that would grow slowly and quietly. But as he observed them, he began to see something different. Humans were not like other species. They learned fast. They adapted. They survived things that should have killed them. Now, Zaxthil detected massive ships moving toward Earth. The Galactic Empire was coming, and they had no idea what they were walking into. Zaxthil sent his warning message toward the empires. War fleet. His ancient equipment crackled with energy as he transmitted his plea across the stars. "Do not approach the third planet," his message said. "The humans are not what they seem. Earth is a trap that has destroyed civilizations far greater than yours. Turn back now before it is too late." High Chancellor Vexstar sat on his command throne aboard the massive ship called Star Crusher. He was the leader of the Zephyrian Council, the most powerful beings in the known galaxy. For thousands of years, his people had conquered planet after planet. No species had ever successfully resisted them. When Zaxthil's warning reached the Imperial fleet, Vexstar laughed. His advisors brought him reports about Earth and its inhabitants. According to their scouts, humans had barely learned to travel between stars. Their weapons were simple compared to Zephyrian plasma cannons. Their ships were slow and weak. "This is clearly the message of a mad creature," Vexstar told his officers. "Some dying alien trying to frighten us with ghost stories. We have conquered 300 worlds. What could one small planet do to stop us?" His tactical officer, a younger Zephyrian named Nixval, studied the warning message more carefully. Something about it worried her, but she did not dare question the High Chancellor's judgment. Back on Earth, Admiral Troy Bennett received an urgent call from Commander Peterson. Bennett was in charge of Earth's space defense forces, though most humans did not know how advanced those forces really were. "Admiral, we have a problem," Jake said over the communication link. "Dr. Morgan has translated more of that alien message. Someone is warning us about an approaching fleet." Bennett's expression grew serious. He had been preparing for this day for many years. "How long do we have?" "Based on the energy signatures we're detecting, maybe 2 weeks," Jake replied. "That's enough time," Bennett said quietly. "Begin Protocol Labyrinth. Contact all colonies and defense stations. Tell them it's time." Dr. Morgan worked through the night, trying to understand more of Zaxthil's message. The alien language was complex, but her computers were slowly breaking it down. What she discovered made her blood run cold. The message contained historical records. It told the story of dozens of civilizations that had faced the Galactic Empire. All of them had tried to fight using traditional warfare. All of them had failed and been enslaved or destroyed, but there was something else in the message. References to an ancient civilization that had once ruled the galaxy. The Void Watchers had been incredibly advanced, but they had fallen not to outside enemies, but to their own rigid thinking. They had become too set in their ways to adapt when the galaxy changed around them. As Lisa read deeper into the files, she began to understand why Zaxtel was so frightened for both sides. He had seen what happened when unstoppable forces met immovable objects. The result was always destruction for everyone. The Zephyrian fleet moved closer to Earth's solar system. Their ships were enormous, each one capable of destroying a moon. High Chancellor Vextar was confident that this would be another easy conquest. He planned to give the humans the same choice he gave every species: surrender and become slaves, or resist and be wiped out. Vextar did not know that every human colony had already evacuated its civilians to hidden shelters. He did not know that Earth's real military bases were concealed under oceans and inside asteroids. He had no idea that humanity had been preparing for this exact situation for decades. On Earth, children were told they were going on camping trips. Workers were given unexpected vacations. Entire cities quietly emptied as people moved to safe locations. To outside observers, Earth looked normal, but it was really becoming a carefully prepared battlefield. Commander Peterson watched the last transport ship disappear into the night sky. In 2 weeks, the most powerful military force in the galaxy would arrive at Earth. They would expect to find a helpless planet full of primitive beings. Instead, they would discover that humans had been watching and learning about the Empire for years. They would find that Earth was not a target, but a trap that had been waiting patiently for them to spring it. Jake touched the alien message device that Dr. Morgan had given him. Somewhere out there, Zaxtel was still trying to prevent a war that could destroy both civilizations. But it was too late to turn back now. The trap was set. Soon, the galaxy would learn what happened when someone tried to conquer Earth. The Zephyrian fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. High Chancellor Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the small yellow star ahead of them. Somewhere around that star was the planet called Earth. "Begin the standard Imperial integration protocol," Vextar commanded. His voice echoed through the bridge where dozens of alien officers worked at their stations. Captain Roy Harrison sat in the command chair of the Earth defense ship Harmony. His ship looked small and weak compared to the massive alien vessels, but appearances could be deceiving. Roy had been chosen for this mission because he knew how to think fast under pressure. "Incoming transmission from the alien fleet," his communications officer reported. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies." "Put it through," Roy said calmly. Vextar's image appeared on the main screen. The alien leader was tall and thin, with silver skin and glowing red eyes. When he spoke, his words were automatically translated by Earth's computers. "Primitive beings of the third planet," Vextar announced. "I am High Chancellor Vextar of the Galactic Empire. Your world has been selected for integration into our civilization. You will surrender all weapons and submit to Imperial authority. Those who cooperate will be allowed to live as servants. Those who resist will be eliminated." Roy looked at his crew and smiled slightly. Earth's leaders had prepared him for exactly this speech. According to their intelligence, the Empire used the same words on every planet they conquered. "This is Captain Roy Harrison of the Earth Confederation," he replied. "We appreciate your interest in our world. However, we prefer to remain independent. We're willing to discuss peaceful trade and cultural exchange if you're interested." On the Imperial flagship, Vextar S officers looked at each other in surprise. Most species begged for mercy when they heard the integration speech. Some tried to threaten the Empire with their primitive weapons. but none had ever offered to negotiate as equals. Did this human just refuse our generous offer? Vexstar asked his tactical officer. Sub-Commander Nixville checked her readings again. Yes, High Chancellor. They seem to think they can bargain with us. Vexstar laughed, but it was not a pleasant sound. Very well. Begin Phase 1 bombardment. Target their military installations. Once they see our power, they will be more reasonable. The Imperial fleet opened fire on what their scanners identified as Earth's main defense bases. Brilliant beams of plasma energy struck the planet's surface, creating massive explosions that could be seen from space. But something was wrong. The explosions were too perfect, too contained. After the light faded, the Imperial scanners showed that the military bases had been completely empty. They had destroyed nothing but elaborate decoys. General Kate Sullivan watched the bombardment from her real command center buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The fake bases had done their job perfectly, making the aliens think they had achieved an easy victory. Phase 1 of Protocol Labyrinth is complete, she reported to Admiral Bennett. The enemy has revealed their primary weapon capabilities. Our decoy installations performed exactly as expected. Dr. Lisa Morgan sat in her laboratory, studying the Imperial communication signals. She had been working for hours to break through their encryption. Finally, she found what she was looking. FOR, a secondary communication channel used by lower-ranking Imperial officers. Commander Peterson, she called over the intercom. I've found a way to contact individual members of their fleet. I think some of them might be willing to listen to reason. Jake hurried to Lisa's lab. What kind of contact? There's a sub-commander named Nixville who seems to be questioning her orders, Lisa explained. Her personal communications suggest she's uncomfortable with the Empire's methods. She might be our way to prevent this from becoming a total war. Meanwhile, aboard the Imperial flagship, Nixville was indeed having doubts. She had participated in dozens of planetary conquests, but something felt different about this one. The humans were not reacting like other species. They were too calm, too prepared. When Dr. Morgan's carefully crafted message reached her personal communicator, Nixville was shocked. The transmission was in perfect Zephyrian language, addressing her by name and rank. Sub-Commander Nixville, the message said. This is Dr. Lisa Morgan of Earth. We know you are a person of honor who questions unnecessary violence. We wish to prevent bloodshed on both sides. Please respond if you are willing to talk. Nixville looked around the bridge nervously. If High Chancellor Vexstar discovered she was communicating with the enemy, she would be executed for treason. But the human's message intrigued her. How did they know her name? How did they know she had doubts? She waited until her shift ended, then sent a brief reply from her private quarters. How do you know about me? Dr. Morgan's response came quickly. We have been studying your empire for many years. We know that not all Zephyrians support conquest and slavery. We also know that your people have conquered over 300 species using the same tactics you're using on us. This information shocked Nixville. Imperial citizens were not supposed to know the exact number of conquered worlds. That information was classified at the highest levels. On Earth, engineer Bob Martinez activated the planet's hidden defense network. For 50 years, humans had been building a secret system that connected every major installation on the planet. The network was designed to learn from each attack and adapt its responses. When the Second Imperial bombardment began, the results were very different. Earth's real defensive systems absorbed the plasma energy and redirected it harmlessly into space. What should have been devastating attacks became light, shows that did no damage at all. How is this possible? Vexstar demanded. Our weapons are the most powerful in the galaxy. His science officer studied the readings with growing alarm. High Chancellor, their defensive systems appear to be learning from our attacks. Each shot we fire makes their shields stronger. Zaxthal, still hiding in the outer reaches of the solar system, watched the battle with growing dread. He sent another message to both sides, pleading with them to stop before it was too late. "The cycle is beginning again," his transmission warned. "Empire meets resistance. Resistance becomes adaptation. Adaptation becomes revolution. The galaxy has seen this pattern before. It always ends in the fall of empires." But his warnings went unheard. High Chancellor Vextar was too proud to admit that his perfect conquest was failing. Admiral Bennett was too focused on protecting Earth to consider the larger implications. Dr. Morgan continued her secret conversations with Sub-Commander Nix Vell. Through these talks, she learned valuable information about Imperial technology and tactics. More importantly, she began to understand that many Zephyrians were tired of endless warfare. "Your empire has been conquering worlds for thousands of years," Lisa transmitted. "But what has it gained? Your people live in fear of their own government. Your soldiers die in wars that serve no purpose except to feed the Chancellor's ego." Nixville found herself agreeing with the human's words. She had seen too many worlds burned, too many species enslaved. The Empire called it civilization, but it looked more like destruction to her. Captain Harrison prepared his ship for the next phase of Earth's defense plan. The Harmony would soon make contact with the Imperial fleet again, but this time the conversation would be very different. As the two forces prepared for the next round of conflict, neither side fully understood what they were starting. The Empire thought they were conquering another primitive world. Earth believed they were defending their freedom, but Zaxthal knew the truth. This was not just a battle for one planet. It was the beginning of a war that would reshape the entire galaxy. And despite all his warnings, no one was listening to the wisdom of the past. High Chancellor Vextar was growing angry. 3 days had passed since his fleet arrived at Earth, and the conquest was not going as planned. The humans continued to resist, and their defenses were proving much stronger than expected. "Begin the full assault," he commanded his fleet. "I want every ship to attack simultaneously. These primitives need to learn what happens when they defy the Empire." Lieutenant Nina Foster sat in the cockpit of her stealth fighter, waiting for the order to launch. She was part of Ghost Squadron, Earth's most secret military unit. Her ship used technology that the Empire had never seen before. "Ghost leader to all units," she spoke into her radio. "The big show is about to begin. Remember, hit fast and disappear. Make them think we're everywhere at once." The Imperial fleet opened fire with everything they had. Hundreds of massive ships sent streams of plasma energy toward Earth. The attack was so powerful that it lit up the entire solar system. But instead of destroying the planet, something impossible happened. Earth's defensive systems activated in ways the Empire could not understand. Energy shields flickered to life around major cities. Underground bunkers opened to reveal weapons that fired back at the attacking ships. Nina's fighter shot out from a hidden base inside an asteroid. Her ship was invisible to Imperial sensors, using quantum technology that bent light around it. She attacked the nearest enemy ship, firing precise shots at its weapon systems, then vanished before they could respond. "Target destroyed," she reported, moving to next position. All across the battlefield, Ghost Squadron fighters appeared and disappeared like phantoms. The Imperial fleet tried to track them, but their sensors showed nothing. It was as if humans had learned to become invisible. Dr. Alex Carter sat in a special command center beneath New York City. His job was not to fight the aliens with weapons, but with something much more powerful: psychology. For months, he had been studying Imperial communications, learning how their minds worked. "Begin Operation Mindbreak," he ordered his team. Suddenly, every Zephyrian ship began receiving personal messages. Not general broadcasts, but individual communications addressed to specific crew members by name. Sub-Commander. Nixville gasped when her personal communicator activated. A human voice spoke to her in perfect Zephyrian, mentioning details about her family that no outsider should know. Nixville, daughter of Kexter, graduate of the Imperial Academy class of 2847, the voice said. We know you joined the military to protect your younger brother Zixtel. We know you send half your pay to support your sick mother on the colony world Vex Prime. Is this war really worth dying for? Similar messages reached thousands of Imperial soldiers. The humans somehow knew their names, their families, their personal fears and dreams. The psychological impact was devastating. Engineer Bob Martinez watched his greatest creation come to life. Earth's planetary defense network was not just a collection of weapons and shields. It was a massive artificial intelligence that learned. From every attack, when Imperial plasma beams struck the defensive barriers, the system analyzed their frequency and power. Within minutes, it had created countermeasures that made those weapons useless. When the Empire tried different tactics, the network adapted again. It's beautiful, Bob whispered as he watched data streams flow across his screens. Every shot they fire just makes us stronger. High Chancellor Vextar stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. His most powerful weapons were having no effect. Worse, his own ships were being damaged by fighters that his sensors could not detect. How is this possible? He demanded. Our technology is thousands of years ahead of theirs. His science officer looked pale with fear. High Chancellor, I believe we have made a serious error. These humans are not primitive. They have been hiding their true capabilities. Captain Roy Harrison's ship, the Harmony, suddenly appeared in the middle of the Imperial fleet. The aliens immediately targeted it with dozens of weapons, but the small Earth vessel seemed to dance between the attacks. This is Captain Harrison to the Imperial fleet, Roy broadcast on all frequencies. You are in violation of Earth space. Withdraw immediately, or face the consequences. Vextar laughed bitterly. One tiny ship threatens my entire fleet? Destroy it. But when the Imperial ships fired, something extraordinary happened. The Harmony did not dodge the attacks or deflect them. Instead, it absorbed the energy and used it to power its own weapons. The human ship grew brighter and more powerful with each shot that hit it. Sub-Commander Nixville watched in amazement as the small Earth vessel disabled 3 Imperial cruisers using their own weapon energy against them. She began to understand why the ancient alien had warned them about Earth. Deep in space, Zaxthel finally managed to establish contact with Admiral Bennett. The conversation took place through quantum communication channels that the Empire could not intercept. Human leader, Zaxthel's translated words appeared on Bennett's screen. You must understand what you are fighting. The Empire has conquered hundreds of worlds using the same tactics. But you are not responding like other species. Admiral Bennett studied the alien text carefully. What makes us different? Other species try to match the Empire's strength with strength, Zaxthel explained. They build bigger weapons, stronger shields, more powerful ships. But the Empire always has more resources. They always win that kind of fight. And what are we doing differently? Bennett asked. You are not trying to be stronger than them, came the reply. You are trying to be smarter. You are making them defeat themselves. This is how my people should have fought long ago. Bennett began to understand. Earth's strategy was not about having better weapons or stronger defenses. It was about making the Empire's own power work against them. Dr. Morgan received a secret transmission from Nixville. The Imperial officer had made a dangerous decision to share classified information with the humans. The Chancellor is planning to use Planet Killer weapons, Nixville's message warned. If conventional attacks fail, he will try to destroy your entire world. You must prepare for this. Lisa immediately forwarded this intelligence to Earth's leadership. The planet-killer weapons were the Empire's ultimate tool of conquest. They had destroyed entire civilizations that refused to surrender. Dr. Carl Wayne, Earth's leading quantum physicist, had been working on a theoretical defense against such weapons. When he learned about the Imperial plan, he knew it was time to test his most ambitious creation. "We need to evacuate every major city immediately," he told President Dan Collins. "If my calculations are wrong, billions of people will die." But Wayne was not planning to hide from the planet killer. Instead, he intended to turn it into Earth's greatest weapon. As the battle continued, more Imperial soldiers began to question their mission. The psychological warfare was working better than anyone had expected. Entire ship crews were refusing orders, demanding to know why they were fighting beings who only wanted to be left alone. Lieutenant Foster and her Ghost Squadron had disabled over 50 Imperial ships without losing a single fighter. The alien fleet was beginning to fall apart as fear and confusion spread through their ranks. Chancellor Vextar watched his perfect conquest turn into a nightmare. Nothing was working as it should. The humans seemed to anticipate every move, counter every strategy. In desperation, he gave the order he had hoped to avoid. "Prepare the Starbreaker weapon. If we cannot conquer this world, we will destroy it as an example to others." The Empire's most terrible weapon began to charge, gathering energy that could crack a planet in half. But Earth was ready. Dr. Wayne's quantum displacement field was about to turn the Empire's ultimate weapon into the key to their own defeat. The trap was about to spring completely, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The Imperial Dreadnought destroyer moved into position above Earth. Its Starbreaker weapon was the most feared tool in the galaxy, capable of destroying entire planets. High Chancellor Vextar stood on the bridge, watching as the massive cannon charged with deadly energy. "This ends now," he declared to his officers. "If we cannot rule this world, no one will." Dr. Carl Wayne stood in his underground laboratory, surrounded by equipment that hummed with quantum energy. His life's work was about to be tested in the most dangerous way possible. Around him, screens showed the Imperial weapon preparing to fire. "Planetary displacement field is ready," he reported to President Dan Collins. "But I have to warn you, sir. We've never tested this on such a scale. If it fails, Earth will be destroyed." President Collins looked at the faces of his advisors. They all knew the risks, but they also knew there was no choice. "Do it, Doctor. Show them what humanity is really capable of." The Starbreaker weapon fired. A beam of pure destruction shot toward Earth, carrying enough energy to tear the planet. For a moment, it seemed like the Empire had finally won, but then something impossible happened. Just before the beam reached Earth's surface, Dr. Wayne's quantum field activated. The planet seemed to flicker and shift like a reflection. In disturbed water, the Starbreaker's energy passed harmlessly through Earth, as if the planet had become a ghost. The deadly beam continued into space, missing its target completely. "What happened?" Vextar demanded. "Where did the planet go?" His science officer stared at his instruments in shock. "High Chancellor, our sensors show the planet is still there. But the weapon passed right through it. It's impossible." What Vextar did not know was that Dr. Wayne had done something no scientist in the galaxy had ever attempted. He had shifted Earth slightly out of normal space-time, just enough to avoid the attack, then shifted it back. But the real surprise was yet to come. Commander Beth Parker sat in the Civilian Coordination Center, watching reports flood in from across the galaxy. Earth's quantum displacement had created an unexpected side effect. The energy from the Starbreaker weapon had not simply vanished. It had been redirected through quantum tunnels, emerging simultaneously at the location of every major Imperial world. On the Zephyrian home planet, Citizens looked up in shock as Earth's image appeared in their sky. The displaced energy carried with it a message that President Collins had prepared for this exact moment. "People of the galaxy," Collins' voice echoed across hundreds of worlds. "We are the humans of Earth. Your empire tried to destroy us with their planet-killer weapon. As you can see, we survived. This energy you see in your sky is your own weapon, redirected to show you the truth." The message continued, broadcast to every imperial world at once. "We did not seek this war. We only wanted to be left in peace. But your leaders chose violence over cooperation. Now you see that their ultimate weapon cannot touch us, while we can reach every world in your empire whenever we choose." On imperial worlds across the galaxy, something unprecedented began to happen. Conquered species who had lived under Zephyrian rule for generations suddenly realized that the empire was not invincible. If a small planet like Earth could resist the Starbreaker, perhaps freedom was possible. After all, General Rick Stone coordinated Earth's response to the galaxy-wide uprising that followed. His job was to provide support to rebellion movements without directly interfering in their fights for independence. "Send tactical advice to the resistance groups on Kepler-7, he ordered his staff, "and transmit those Imperial security codes that Sub-Commander Nix Vell provided. It's time to level the playing field." Sub-Commander Nixville had made her choice. When she saw the Starbreaker weapon fire at a populated planet, she could no longer serve the Empire. She activated the emergency beacon that Dr. Morgan had given her, signaling her desire to defect. "This is Sub-Commander Nixville to Earth forces," she broadcast on the secret frequency. "I am prepared to provide full intelligence on Imperial military capabilities. The Chancellor has lost his mind. He must be stopped before he destroys everything." Her defection came at a crucial moment. The intelligence she provided allowed Earth to anticipate every Imperial countermove. More importantly, her broadcasts to other Imperial officers encouraged dozens of ships to surrender or switch sides. Admiral Bennett watched as the Empire's careful military structure collapsed. Ships refused orders, commanders questioned their missions, and entire fleets began to disintegrate as moral authority crumbled. "It's working exactly as we predicted," he told his staff. The Empire's greatest weakness was always their belief that fear could replace respect. Once people stop being afraid, tyranny cannot survive. High Chancellor Vextar found himself trapped in Earth's solar system as his own fleet turned against him. The humans had somehow corrupted his officers with their psychological warfare. Worse, reports were coming in from across the Empire about rebellions and surrenders. "Activate the Quantum Cascade Protocol," he ordered desperately. "If I cannot rule the galaxy, I will destroy it." Dr. Sarah Davis, monitoring Imperial communications, immediately understood the threat. The Quantum Cascade was a doomsday weapon that would destabilize the fundamental structure of space-time itself. If activated, it would destroy not just the solar system, but potentially the entire galactic region. "Emergency alert to all stations," she broadcast. "The Empire is attempting to destabilize local spacetime. We need every scientist, human and alien, working together to prevent a cascade failure." What followed was the most remarkable cooperation in galactic history. Human scientists shared their quantum research with Imperial defectors. Zephyrian physicists worked alongside Earth engineers. Even Zaxthel emerged from hiding, offering the ancient knowledge of the Void Watchers. The solution required technology from all three civilizations: human adaptability, Imperial power, and Void Watcher wisdom. Working together, they created a stabilization field that prevented the cascade from destroying the galaxy. Commander Nixville. Now Admiral Nixville of the Free Zephyrian Fleet led the final assault on Vextar's flagship. The battle was not fought with weapons, but with broadcasts that reached every remaining Imperial soldier. "This is Admiral Nixville," she transmitted. "High Chancellor Vextar has attempted to destroy the galaxy rather than accept defeat. He no longer represents the Zephyrian people or the values we once believed in. All loyal soldiers, stand down and surrender to human forces. The war is over." One by one, Imperial ships powered down their weapons and signaled surrender. The great Galactic Empire, which had ruled for thousands of years, collapsed in a matter of days. Vex single quotes Tar, isolated on his flagship with only a handful of loyal followers, made one final desperate attempt to activate a planet-killer weapon. But his own crew, led by officers who had finally seen the truth, arrested him before he could complete the sequence. President Collins addressed the galaxy from the deck of New Geneva Station. Behind him, Earth turned peacefully in space, unmarked by the terrible weapons that had tried to destroy it. "The Empire is finished," he announced, "but this is not a victory for conquest. This is a victory for the idea that different species can live together as equals. We invite all worlds to join us in building something better than Empire. Together, we can create a true galactic civilization based on cooperation instead of fear." Zaxthil, his long vigil finally ended, transmitted a message of hope to the galaxy. "The cycle of empire and destruction is broken. Your species have learned what mine could not. That true strength comes from unity, not domination." As reports came in from across the galaxy, it became clear that the transformation was complete. Over 300 worlds had declared independence from the Empire. Most were asking to join the new confederation that Earth proposed. The trap had worked perfectly. The Empire had destroyed itself by trying to destroy Earth, and from its ashes, something new and better was being born. 3 years had passed since the fall of the Galactic Empire. Commander Jake Peterson, now Admiral Peterson, stood on the observation deck of New Geneva Station, watching the most remarkable sight in human history. Ships from dozens of different species worked together to build New Harmony City, the first truly integrated space station in the galaxy. The construction crews included humans, Zephyrians, and representatives from over 50 former Imperial colonies. They worked side by side, sharing technology and knowledge that had been forbidden under the old Empire. Dr. Lisa Morgan walked up beside Jake, carrying a datapad filled with reports from across the galaxy. She had become Earth's chief ambassador to the new Galactic Confederation, helping to establish peaceful relations with species that had never known freedom. "The latest reports from the outer colonies," she said, handing in the pad. 17. More worlds have requested membership in the Confederation this month. The Kepler system just voted to establish their first democratic government. Jake smiled as he read the reports. Each one told a story of species learning to govern themselves, often for the first time in centuries. The transition had not always been smooth, but the results were encouraging. Ambassador Helen Ross had spent the last year traveling between former Imperial worlds, helping to establish the new government structure. The Galactic Confederation was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Instead of a central authority that ruled through force, it was a voluntary alliance where each member world kept its independence. "The key is making sure no one feels threatened," Helen explained to a group of new ambassadors. "The old empire ruled through fear. We succeed through trust. When species know they can leave the Confederation at any time, they choose to stay because membership benefits them." Dr. Sarah Davis led the joint research initiative that had become the Confederation's greatest success story. Scientists from different species shared knowledge freely, leading to advances that no single civilization could have achieved alone. "We've just completed the first successful test of hybrid quantum plasma technology," she reported to the Confederation Council. "By combining human quantum theory With Zephyrian energy manipulation and Void Watcher historical data, we've created a power source that's both clean and incredibly efficient. General Rick Stone oversaw the new mutual defense network that protected member worlds from outside threats. Unlike the Imperial military, this force was made up of volunteers from all species and operated under strict rules about when force could be used. Defense only was the motto that Rick had established. We protect, we don't conquer. We help, we don't control. The system had already proven its worth when a group of Imperial loyalists tried to reclaim their former territory. The defense network responded quickly, but instead of destroying the attackers, they offered them the choice to surrender and join the Confederation or leave peacefully. Most chose to surrender. Former High Chancellor Vextar sat in a comfortable prison cell. On the neutral world of Haven, unlike the brutal Imperial prisons, this facility was designed to rehabilitate rather than punish. Vextar spent his days studying human philosophy and Void Watcher history, slowly beginning to understand where his empire had gone wrong. Power without wisdom is just destruction, he wrote in his journal. I built an empire that lasted 1,000 years, but these humans created something that might last forever. Admiral Nixville, now the elected leader of the Free Zephyrian Republic, worked closely with Earth's government to ensure that former Imperial species had a voice in the new galactic order. Her people had embraced democracy, enthusiastically grateful, to finally have leaders they could choose and remove. My species spent so long following orders that we forgot how to think for ourselves, she told a gathering of young Zephyrians. The humans reminded us that true strength comes from making our own choices, not from blindly following ancient traditions. Zaxtel had become the Confederation's historical advisor, sharing the wisdom of the Void Watchers with anyone willing to listen. His ancient ship had been restored using technology from all member species, and he traveled the galaxy teaching about the mistakes that had destroyed previous civilizations. The pattern is always the same, he explained to students at the new Interspecies University. Empires rise by promising order and security. They fall when they forget that their power comes from the people they claim to protect. Your Confederation breaks this pattern by making power flow upward from the people, not downward for rulers. President Collins, now Secretary General of the Galactic Confederation, worked from his office in the rebuilt United Nations building. The old Earth organization had been expanded to include representatives from hundreds of worlds, each with an equal voice in galactic affairs. His assistant brought in the daily intelligence reports. The news was mostly positive. Trade between worlds was increasing. Scientific cooperation was producing new discoveries almost daily, and conflicts between species were being resolved through negotiation rather than warfare. But one report caught his attention. Long-range sensors had detected a new fleet approaching from beyond the galactic rim. The ships were massive and heavily armed, following the same aggressive pattern that the old Zephyrian Empire had used. Collins called an emergency meeting of the Confederation Council. Representatives from dozens of worlds gathered in the great assembly hall, their faces showing concern as they studied the sensor data. It appears we're facing another empire, Collins announced. These ships are larger than anything the Zephyrians ever built. Their energy signatures suggest weapons that could destroy entire star systems. Admiral Peterson studied the tactical displays. Their approach vector suggests they've been watching us for some time. They know about the fall of the Zephyrian Empire, and they're coming to fill the power vacuum. But Admiral Nixville was not worried. Let them come, she said calmly. They're making the same mistake that my people made. They see the galaxy as a collection of weak, divided worlds ready for conquest. They have no idea what they're really facing. Dr. Morgan had been analyzing the new empire's communication patterns. Their broadcasts follow the same format as old Imperial messages, she reported. Standard threats, demands for surrender, promises of mercy for those who cooperate. It's exactly what we've seen before. General Stone was already coordinating the defense response. But this time, Earth would not face the threat alone. Ships from over 200 worlds were volunteering to join the defensive fleet. The galaxy had learned that cooperation was stronger than any single empire. The difference is simple, Stone explained to his officers. When the Zephyrians attacked Earth, we were one planet facing an empire. Now, any aggressor faces an entire galaxy united in defense of freedom. Dr. Wayne worked on upgrading the quantum displacement technology that had saved Earth 3 years earlier. With the help of scientists from across the Confederation, he had expanded the system to protect multiple worlds simultaneously. If they want to use planet-killer weapons, he told his research team, they'll find that we can redirect their energy to any target we choose. Their own weapons will become our greatest advantage. As the new Imperial fleet drew closer, Saxtel prepared one final warning message. But this time, he was not alone. The message carried the signatures of leaders from hundreds of worlds, speaking in dozens of languages. Unknown fleet, the transmission began. This is Zaxtel of the Void Watchers, speaking for the Galactic Confederation. We offer you the same choice we offered the last empire that came to conquer us. Friendship, cooperation, and the chance to grow beyond the need for conquest. The message continued with Colin's voice. We are not the scattered, frightened worlds you expect to find. We are a united galaxy that has learned the true meaning of strength. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your threats cannot frighten us. But our doors remain open if you choose peace over war. Admiral Peterson stood on the bridge of the Harmony, now the flagship of the Confederation Defense Fleet. Around him, ships from dozens of species waited in perfect formation. They were ready for battle, but they hoped for peace. All ships report ready, his communications officer announced. The new Imperial fleet will arrive in 6 hours. Peterson nodded. Signal all commands. Remember, we fight only to defend. If they choose war, we'll show them why empires always fall. If they choose peace, we'll show them something better. Dr. Carter's Psychological Warfare Division had been studying the approaching empire's communications. They call themselves the hegemony of eternal order, he reported. Their leader believes that chaos and freedom are diseases that must be cured through absolute control. Then they're about to learn that freedom is not a disease, Collins replied. It's the cure for tyranny. As the final hours counted down, children across the galaxy attended special classes about the history of empires. Teachers explained how the Zephyrian Empire had fallen not to superior weapons, but to superior ideas. Remember, a teacher on the world of New Hope told her mixed class of human and alien children. Empires rise because people are afraid. They fall when people stop being afraid and start working together. The hegemony fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the galaxy, expecting to find a collection of primitive worlds ripe for conquest. I